Coming up, war rages on between the Allies and the Soviet Union, and only you can turn the tide of war. I'll take you through some winning strategies for Command & Conquer Red Alert 3's classic factions, from the powerful Allied Air Force to the devastating Soviet ground game. And we'll demonstrate the Red Army's most powerful superweapon, the Vacuum Imploder. So spin up those Century bombers and roll out the Apocalypse tanks. This is Command School. You're watching Command School. I'm Greg Kasavin. Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 has finally hit the shelves, and the Cold War has never been hotter. With Einstein out of the picture, the Soviet Union is on the march. To demonstrate some key strategies against the Allies, I'll take over a battle on our western front. Our intelligence has been thin on this front, so scouting is my first priority. This is a perfect job for the armored warbear, so I'll send them in pairs throughout the map, stunning and killing any resistance I meet with the bear's roaring special ability. Just press the F key to stun any infantry with one bear, then trample the dazed soldiers with the other. Now I'll camp them within view of the Allied base, and we can get a good look at what we're up against. It looks like the Allies are rightfully terrified of the Soviet ground game, and are focused on deploying their powerful air force. They've purchased heightened clearance from their Konyard, teching up every building in range and unlocking scores of new units and powers. But without their Konyard, they won't be able to produce anything beyond Tier 1, so this will be a priority target. Lastly, they've got a naval yard pumping out dolphins to control the seas. We'll have to find either an appropriate counter or stay out of the water entirely. Those aircraft are the most immediate concern, so I'll build anti-air flak towers as I finish construction of my war factory. From there, I can build bullfrogs, which are only effective against aircraft, but provide excellent defense against an air-centric opponent. I'll also mix it up with a couple of terror drones, which can hit an Allied prospector quick and cripple their economy. But make sure to avoid the Allied structures, as many of them can repair nearby vehicles and destroy your precious terror drones. This distraction will give me time to tech up to Tier 2 using my super reactor. This giant power plant is highly explosive when destroyed and can act as a weak point in Soviet defenses, so I'll build it far away from my base just in case. A battle lab and a naval yard finish off my base, and now I'm in an excellent position to strike hard and fast on the Allied forces. I built a couple of fearsome Soviet dreadnoughts. Making sure to keep out of sight, I'll move them around in the back of the enemy's base and wait for the right time to strike. Now, my war factory can produce a combination of hammer tanks, sickles, and bullfrogs to attack the enemy straight on. The hammer tanks are great against turret defenses and other tanks, while the sickles just mow down infantry and the bullfrogs clear the skies. The Allies throw everything they have at our forces, but surprise! My dreadnoughts open fire from the shore, raining down fire on the Allied Konyard. It tries to escape, but my hammer tanks have it cornered, and soon the Allies are knocked back to Tier 1, defenseless and ready for the final blow. And our great Soviet scientists have just the thing. The Vacuum Imploder, a base-killing weapon of mass destruction that's going to make those capitalist pigs sorry they ever peeked behind the Iron Curtain. Just build it up, wait for it to power up, and then fire the imploder on the enemy base, and enjoy the fireworks. Victory never tasted so sweet, comrades. But what if you are that Allied player? Here's how to cripple the powerful communist war machine. First things first, we need to see what we're up against. Good thing the Allies have the Tier 1 surveillance sweep support power. Since I start with one security point, I can buy this power immediately. Now I can use it to get a great sense of the Soviet commander's offensive and defensive capabilities. Predictably, those Reds are already pumping mechanized monstrosities out of their war factory. I see they have a second build queue going with a Crusher crane, but they've built the structure on sea, so their tanks won't be able to repair. Another mistake. They teched up to Tier 2 with the super reactor, but placed it right in the middle of their base. It's an error we'll make them regret. Back at my base, I'll set up walls around my ore refineries to keep those damn terror drones out, and then work on countering the Soviet ground game. Allies have their own advantage here: early air superiority. Remember, all Allied production structures can repair, so I'll build my airfield near my refinery to further protect against terror drones and protect my ore collectors as well. My airfield will be able to produce bombers for precision strikes on sensitive targets. A quick tech up to Tier 2 at my MCV, and we've got ourselves some cryocopters. Now the real fun begins. We'll cripple them early by sending our Vindicators to eliminate surface-to-air defense, clearing the way for our copters. Now put the freeze on an enemy structure, let's say his Konyard, and even if you lose a few units, you'll still have enough to freeze it down. After that, a single Vindicator can finish the job, and we never even had to build a single tank. I make sure to constantly keep scouting, and What's this? It looks like the Russians are building a vacuum imploder. There's no way we're surviving one of those things in our base, and there's only minutes before it's gonna go active. Okay, it's time to finish these godless commies. So I tech up to tier 3. I've got sentry bombers loaded with infantry and aircraft carriers loaded with bombers. I'll move them in to take care of the Soviet remnants. Make sure you line up your sentry bombing runs along a route that's not full of anti-air. The Sentry's massive bombs make short work of the Soviet tanks, even if they try to flee, while the carriers make sure that Crusher crane can't keep the Soviet hope alive. The Sentries drop their human payload and surprise the Soviet camp with death from above. I've dropped Tanya in to take care of the imploder, while my Javelin troopers bring down the Soviet reactor from a safe distance with their laser lock special ability. Now use Tanya to destroy the outlying buildings, and you can chalk this one up as an explosive win for the good guys.
You are victorious.
Now you should have yourself a strong set of strategies to get you started in Command & Conquer Red Alert 3. Remember to visit commandandconquer.com for more tips and tricks, including strats for Red Alert's newest faction, the Empire of the Rising Sun. Dev tested, player approved. For Command & Conquer TV, I'm Greg Kasavin.